On this episode of Scotty's Garage, I'm going to show you how to design something and print it in 3D. So, I think by now everyone realizes I have bought myself a 3D printer and I've been enjoying it immensely. In the 10 days or so that we've owned it, I think we've got over 110 print hours up already. That's averaging 11 hours a day. And yeah, so we've been giving it a solid workout. For a relatively inexpensive 3D printer, you know, it has been delivering above and beyond what I could ever expect. My wife calls it my new toy, and yes, it is a bit, but she's been enjoying it as well, and my daughter wants to get involved as well. So it's been a whole family experience for us. So I've already been down the rabbit hole of just printing knickknacks and that sort of thing, and then printing stuff that I find online, a little bit more useful, and that's been fun. But I think now we're into that point of, you know, I want to design stuff that I can use, and I can't find the designs online. One of the things I'd like to design is something to hold this socket set. Now you may say, Scotty, it's already got a holder. The sockets are right there. And you're right, except when you go to pull them, well, that one came off pretty easy, but I'll tell you what, some of them, you know, they take a bit of force. Maybe they're starting to wear in a bit, but I'll tell you what, it takes a bit of force to get them off, and it's kind of long, and it, you know, takes up space, an inconvenient sort of space. So I want something a little bit sort of tighter and more practical. So I've come up with this design. This is version 1. I'll show you why in a sec. I've only just printed this out, and it works almost perfectly. I'd say 95%. So they've got square backs on these sockets, and so I've sized them so these square sockets go into the square holes, like so. That one's a little bit tight, might have to loosen it. That one's a little bit loose, might have to tighten it. But yeah, I've got it, I think, 95% right. I'll show you the 5% in a sec. All right, so we're good up to there. This last one, I stuffed up the sizing and I've made it too small, so it doesn't fit. So I'm gonna have to do a quick redesign and enlarge that hole slightly so we can fit that in. And then I've made 2 round holes at the end for a couple of these little adapters. So I've got a 1/4 to a 3/8 adapter. It just fits in, it's probably too tight. And this little 3/8 to 1/4 adapter the other way. And I've made the hole too small for that one. So I'm going to enlarge that hole and, well, enlarge both holes slightly, and that one as well, and that will make this perfect. And then, of course, I've put Scotty's Garage in there in the middle. I don't know if I'll sell these on the store just yet, but yeah, if you're interested in buying something like this for a little Milwaukee set or just supporting the channel, yeah, maybe I'll throw them on the Scotty's Garage website. All right, let's have a look at this 3D bizzo. So I've already done some preliminary designs. You've seen this one where these holes were too small. Now, I shot that intro a week ago and I've done some changes since then. This was version 2 where I thought I'd fixed all 3 holes, but only fixed those 2 and forgot that one, or put in the wrong size for that one when I made the adjustment. And it ended up smaller than it was before. It didn't fit at all, which is annoying. Since then, I've made sure I keep a set of calipers with me. These are just cheap vernier plastic ones at the moment. Sure, I could buy some expensive ones, you know, digital, might cost me $100 or more, or these ones, less than $2 from Bunnings. So yeah, for just, you know, measuring stuff here quickly and easily, they are the way to go. See, yep, 12.5, accurate enough. And now the rain's going to start coming down. But yeah, just something to keep with you while you're doing your designing on your computer. Then we got to version 3, which turned out perfectly, except for it's too thin. For some reason, I must have hit a button somewhere and made it too thin. That was a little bit annoying. I don't know how I did that. And then that's version 4, which printed out beautifully, except then I forgot to put Scotty's Garage on it when I did the slicing program. So what I might do is put the text on it in the actual design, so that way I don't need to think about it when I slice it. So it's taken me 4 goes to get this right, but on this last one, this socket fits right. This one fits right. This one fits right. And there it is, all ready to go. Okay. So the reason this has taken a week longer than I thought was because when I started shooting this last week, I ran into some problems with the program that I was using, and I was just like, this is driving me nuts. Why can't I fix this? And I've kind of worked around it since, but yeah, at that time I did not want to talk about it. Designing stuff in CAD can be frustrating when you don't know what you're doing. And I'm not saying I know what I'm doing now, but I have more of an idea now. So prior to this, I was talking up Fusion 360. I was saying that was kind of industry standard, and it is in many ways, but it's a commercial program. And, you know, if you want the professional version, it's going to cost you money. And it's like a subscription fee. You got to pay monthly, yearly, whatever. There is a free version, but it limits you to 10 designs at a time type thing. So if you're designing something that's quite complicated, say you're designing something with gears and that sort of thing, you're doing all individual designs for all the individual pieces, you might find yourself limited by that fairly quickly. So also, I've used Fusion before, and I've got to say, I'm just not a super fan. So I wanted to look at other options. A few people told me about Tinkercad, which I had a look at, but it was very much orientated towards kids. And while you can get some designs out, it didn't look like it had what I needed long term. Like, I would have got me out of trouble then and there, but long term, I don't think it would have been the program that I need to put my time and effort into. And then FreeCAD was another one a lot of people talked about. And that's the program I've used to design this. But like I said, it was a stretch, just getting my head around how to get started. And I watched a lot of tutorials, and not all of them made a lot of sense, because it just, some of the terminology they use and just some of the way the program is laid out doesn't lend itself to easy use. But once you get your head around those bits and pieces, you can create some stuff and it becomes quite usable. I won't say simple, it's never going to be simple, but usable. So let's have a look at FreeCAD, and I'll show you the process that went through to make this. And once you can make something like this, you can make a lot of other stuff. So maybe this isn't something you're interested in doing. Maybe you have no interest in CAD at all, but I figure if I show a couple people, if I show, you guys, and you decide you want to go down this rabbit hole, that's a good thing. The more people designing and doing things, the better, I think. So, all right, let's have a look at FreeCAD. So for this, I'm going to talk to the camera, but I'm also going to show you what I'm doing on the computer at the same time. So bear with me. Okay, so here we are in FreeCAD. File, open. All right. Now, not version 2. That was a thing I tried some things with. So socket tray. There we go. And there is our tray. So I can orientate it with this glyph up here. Move it around. You can move it around with the cursor button as well, with the the up and down arrows. Move it around. So essentially what you're going to be doing is making your drawing and then extruding it out. Now, all these are different sizes. I'll show you how I did that, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give you a quick run through of generally how you would do this. I'm not going to do it exactly because there's some precise sizes here, and you know, we ain't got time for that. So let's start with a fresh part. So we'll go here, empty file, create. I don't know if this is the proper way to do it, but this is one of the ways I was shown. Body, part and body. It's up to you whether you want to do it that way. We're in part design, so there's lots of menus in this. And these are all the different varying ways of like different, I guess, models within FreeCAD that you can use. We want part design at the moment, so we'll just stick with that. And we want to start with a sketch, create sketch. We want to pick the plane that we're going to work with. So we'll say the XZ plane. There we go. So what I like to do, especially what I found with this, was if I tried to overlap it over the center of it, it caused me problems later on. So what I want to do is start in this corner, and I want to create a rectangle. So go up here to rectangle. And if I want rounded corners, click rounded corners. So I'll just rest the cursor over there where it says 0, 0, go out. Now, this was 140 long, so type in 140 down here, hit enter, and it was 70 wide, bang. Now, I want the radius of the corner. I used 1 mil radius, which gives us that. So just a tiny little radius on it. And there's our initial rectangle. So pretty simple. Inside that, we want our other rectangles. So again, select a rectangle, rounded corners. Now, if I was doing this for real, I would take careful note of where I'm putting this along here. But this will give us an idea. See, 70 mil, the line turns blue. I know that's where it is. How far down do I want to come? Let's say I want to come down 10 mil. I want to go there. Say I want to come 10 mil in from the side. So we know that's 0. So we come in 10. And then 10. Whoop, hang on. Right there. You see 10 and 60. Pull down. And let's say I wanted to make that 17 mil. And we're going to make it square. 17 mil again. 1 mil radius. And bang, we have our first square. Now, I made these 8 mil apart, I think. So that made it a little bit more complicated. So we can see it's 27 there. I want to come across 8 mil, which means I'll come across to 36 is where I'll come across. 36, and then again, I want 36 and 60. Pull down. And we'll just make them square again, 17, even though they weren't on the original part, 17 and 1, okay? And we'd go same again. So 53, we're coming across to, did I do 27? I made them 9 mil, didn't I? Oops. Anyway, we'll show you what I'll do. So we'll make this same again. So we'll come across to 62. And 62, whoops, sorry, 62 and 60, bang. And again, 17, 17, and 1. All right, so we were creating our squares as we go along. Say we want to do the smaller ones, it's pretty simple. Say we want to make them in line with this, and say we wanted to make them, 14 mil, for example. And we wanted to go a little bit closer. So 79. So we wanted to make it 7. We would make it 86. And then 14 mil square. So we want it 3 mil difference between 17 and 14 mil. So let's divide that by 2. So 1.5. So it's going to be, say, 58.5. So let's zoom in a little bit just so we can get a little bit more resolution out of it. So 58.5. Where was my side? 79. So what did I say? 86. And 58.5. So sometimes you might want a pen and piece of paper beside you so you can just scribble down these numbers just so you know what you need. So I don't have a pen and paper here, but so I've got to remember everything. But yeah. So 58.5 was our up and down, and we're at 100 mil across right now. So if we want 107, 58.5, and 107, whoop, and again, we want 14, 14, and 1. So you can see where I'm going here. We've created our flat sketch. We've created our insert holes, or just we've worked out where they're going to be. Now I'm done with this part. I can go close, and there's our sketch, all right? And it's just a flat 2D drawing. If I click front here, we've got our front. Let's go across. Whoops, that way, whoops. It's backwards sometimes. And yeah, there's our sketch. So now we want to extend that out. So come over to your pad. And again, I've got to, let's see if we can bring this down. It's going to be a pain. All right. Let's say 10 mil. That's all we need. 10 mil pad. Go, okay. Nothing changed, did it? Or it doesn't look like it. Unless we turn it to an angle, boom. You can see the holes go all the way through. Except they do go all the way through. So that's a problem for us. But then we come across here. Come across here, create an additive primitive. So this is where I have a problem with FreeCAD, in that it comes up with these crazy phrases for various things in FreeCAD. Like once you learn it, once you get an idea of it, you go, okay, that's what we got to do. That's where I've got to go. But some of the phrasing is just ridiculous. So now we select our plane. We want to box this thing in. Select our plane. Additive box. Scroll down. Now, I don't know why. That should be doing something. Let's go 140 there. Whoops. What did it do? It's created it on the back side. I see where it's gone. Down the bottom. But it didn't give me any indicators. Usually it gives me indicators. So let's go back to that. Click on the box. So 140, 70. And now you saw it was kind of thick on the back. We don't need it that thick. What do we want? Let's say 3 mil. And we go, okay. Again, it doesn't look like anything changed. But turn it at an angle. I went the wrong way on one of the dimensions. Oh well. I think I've changed. I know what I've done here. I've changed the. I used a different plane to what I usually use. So in height now, I'm going to have to go 70 in lengths. Let's go width. We go 3 mil, and that goes 140. Whoops. All right. And now you can see it's all closed in. So if we circle around the back, it's all closed in. Now you can see there's no chamfer on there. Now we can chamfer that, but I kind of like it like that. I don't mind it. Having the chamfer go 10 mil there and then out to the corners at the bottom. I don't mind it. I'm going to call it a feature. But let's say we want to chamfer the front. Go here and we click chamfer. And let's do, yeah, it's got a 1 mil radius. Maybe we want to put 3 mil radius there. It's more than I would like, but see, you can see it's rounded the whole thing, and it's rounded the holes as well, which I probably don't want to do. So let's go back to 1 mil. And now it's put a radius on all the top edges and on the holes as well. And there we have it. Now, obviously that's not the full design, but you see the procedure. You know, we can put the other holes in there, and you would do that on that sketch. So everything's got to be done on the original sketch, basically. You want it to show up, it's got to be on that original sketch. So from there, we would go File, Export. Okay, sorry, I haven't selected it yet. This is another thing. You got to make sure you select everything. File, Export, and we could just select that now. Let's just put trial tray. Save that. All right, so now we've saved that, we can go into our documents. Trial tray, STL, we click on that, goes into the slicer, and we'll make sure that it looks like it's supposed to. All right. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. What was the thing that I did here the other day that worked? Oh, there we go. Pivot around. All right. So again, it's in the slicer. Of course, it's orientated the wrong way for what I want it to do. Oops. I'm still fumbling my way through this. So I want to rotate it. I want to rotate it on its back. So let's say 90 degrees. Oops. Bang, it's on its back, I hope. No, might have gone on its face. There it is. So it's gone the wrong way for us. So now we go 180 degrees. All right. Minus 90 degrees. Now it's on its back. And then you can see it there. And now from here, we can slice it. We can output it as G-code. We can print it out. So that's the basics of using a 3D CAD program to design something like this. This is simple. I mean, you know, yes, we've designed this and I'm pretty happy with it. In fact, I've just printed out this one in black, and you might say that's exactly the same, but it's not, because as I mentioned before, I've decided to add the text on the actual object in the CAD program rather than adding it in the slicer program. And that's why the text is slightly offset this way. I didn't center it quite right. But anyway, I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, this was never designed to be a full tutorial of all the bells and whistles of 3D CAD design. I reckon, you know, with a program like FreeCAD, you could be doing this stuff for 5 years and still learning stuff every day. It is that comprehensive, and it is, yeah, a very steep learning curve, but one that's worth pursuing. I've elected to stick with FreeCAD. It is frustrating, but also very capable, and there's a lot of tutorials out there on YouTube, so anything you need to know, you can learn on YouTube. It's also free, which I think is amazing. It's also a download, so you're not beholden to internet access or anything like that. You're not worried that one day the owner of that product is going to say, you know what, we're not going to give you the free version anymore, or you have to pay for this, or you have to pay more for this, something like that. It happens. In this day and age, with consumer products and electronics, where you have companies actively reducing the capabilities of products as they age out, it happens. So right now, I have a program downloaded on the computer that is mine to use basically forever. It's worth having. And it didn't cost anything. So anyway, I think this is enough of in the whole 3D series of videos that I've done over the last few weeks. I mean, let's look at the learning curve just over those last 3 weeks. I've bought a 3D printer. I've gone from printing little knickknacks and whatever to actually printing usable solid pieces, of course using other people's files, and now gone to creating my own files. So in the last 3 weeks, I'm pretty happy with that progression. Of course, I don't expect all of you to do the same thing. I know a few of you have gone off and bought 3D printers, the same 3D printer I bought, and by all accounts, those people are very happy with them. I don't expect you all to learn 3D CAD, but if you do, that's a skill that you'll have forever. So next week, we'll do something different, I promise you. But whatever we do, you'll see on a future episode of Scotty's Garage.